Notre Dame has one of the most prestigious college football programs in college football history. Notre Dame has claimed 11 national titles in college football history. They have also been to the national championship game 17 times. In their history, they have had 109 consistent All-Americans. They have had 7 Heisman Trophy winners. On top of those two things, they have notorious college football rivalries with Michigan, Michigan State, USC, Boston College, and more. They have the 5th most wins in college football history, marking 961 for any college football program. Also, they've been to the college football playoff 3 times. On top of all those things, they have one of the most recognizable helmets in college football history. They don't share a conference with anybody, and they've been independent ever since they joined college football. And they have one of the largest fan bases in college football, but most of that is the older generation. It's the reason why the younger fans are becoming more Illinois fans than Notre Dame fans, and that's simply because of Notre Dame not becoming a laughingstock, but kind of becoming a meme, as they've been labeled as this team that can get to the college football playoffs, but we all know are going to choke. This year though, under Marcus Freeman, it looked like things have changed. They have won 2 college football playoff games, and they have a chance to go to the national title. When you're watching this, Notre Dame has either been bounced from the college football playoffs or advanced to the national title. Even with the results being not determined, or with them losing, I still want to make a video on how Marcus Freeman made Notre Dame back into national title contenders. The Charlie Weis era at Notre Dame started out actually kind of good, as they started out 9-3 and 10-3 back-to-back years. In those seasons, Notre Dame also went to the Fiesta Bowl and Sugar Bowl, and they finished number 9 and number 17 in the AP poll at the end of the season. Those 2 years was better than the previous head coach Tyrone Willingham's first 2 years, as his first 2 years they went 10-3 and they went 5-7, and then the next year he went 6-5 and got fired. Actually, Weis was so much better than Willingham that a little over halfway through his first season, when Notre Dame was 5-2, they actually offered Weis a contract extension, which would keep him there through 2015. Also, at the end of that first year, he also won the Eddie Robinson Coach of the Year award. And going into his second year, they was actually ranked number 2 in the preseason AP poll. Now, during these first 2 seasons, it also helped that he had Brady Quinn, who was a Maxwell Award finalist, and I believe he won the Maxwell Award. They also had standout running back Darius Walker and standout wide receiver and future MLB player Jeff Samardzija. Now, Weis did have something going for him at the end of that second season, as he got Jimmy Clausen, who was seen as a generational quarterback. He was so hyped up, they called him the high school football version of LeBron. Actually, I made a video about his career, go check it out please. After that 06 season is where the downfall started. In the 07 season, Notre Dame went 3-9, beating UCLA, Stanford, and Duke. That season, they had quarterback problems, and they tried to have a 2 offense system, and that just didn't work out. Weis would spend 2 more years coaching Notre Dame, as he went 7-6, winning the Hawaii Bowl, and then the next year he went 6-6. At the end of that 6-6 season, Weis would be fired. It hurt that Weis couldn't find a reliable offense, and that he lacked developing talent. It also probably didn't help that Urban Meyer was doing so good at Florida, who was actually Notre Dame's first option over Charlie Weis. After Weis was fired, they then hired Brian Kelly, who was a head coach at Cincinnati before that, also CMU and Grand Valley State. After Brian Kelly was hired, he actually made Notre Dame a consistent winning program again. Probably not national championship contenders consistently, but consistently making to a bowl game. In Brian Kelly's first 2 seasons, they went 8-5 in back-to-back years, winning the Sun Bowl and then losing the Champ Sports Bowl. Now, the season after, in 2012, is where everything like it changed, as Notre Dame went undefeated. They beat Michigan State, who was ranked number 10, number 8 Oklahoma, number 18 Michigan, number 17 Stanford, and rivals USC and Boston College. Now, on this team, they had Zach Martin, Nick Martin, Mike Golick Jr., and Heisman Trophy candidate Manti Te'o. Also wanted to highlight Everett Golson, who was Notre Dame's quarterback at the time, and he was one of the most entertaining players to me that season. Now, they made it to the national championship game where they got blown out by Alabama 42-14, and if I'm not mistaken, this game was over really in the first quarter, but at least by halftime. And losing those big games like the national championship game became a recurring theme in the Brian Kelly era. We can look at the 2018 season for further proof. Now, the 2018 Notre Dame team was actually kind of stacked. They had Brandon Wimbush at quarterback, along with Ian Book as the backup. They had Chase Claypool along with Miles Boykin, and they had Tommy Tremble and Cole Kmet. And on defense, they was led by cornerback Julian Love. They also had Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Almost left out defensive tackle Jerry Tillery. During the season, they would beat number 14 Michigan, number 7 Stanford, number 24 Virginia Tech, number 12 Syracuse, and they beat rivals USC. With them going undefeated, they will be named in the college football playoffs, ranked as a number 3 team, and they were set to face off against number 2 Clemson. And if you don't remember, this Clemson team was led by true freshman Trevor Lawrence. They also had Justin Ross, T. Higgins, Travis Etienne. This team was actually really loaded. The whole Clemson defensive line went to the NFL draft after the college football playoffs. Not only that, 3 of those defensive linemen were first-round picks. So this was going to be the toughest game that Notre Dame has played all season, and it was going to be against the most talented team that they've played all season. And once again, when Notre Dame faced a tough team, it was 30-3 in Clemson's favor. Now we jump from 2018 to 2020, where Notre Dame once again made the college football playoff. Now before they got to the college football playoffs, they had to go to Clemson once again. This time Clemson still had Trevor Lawrence, but in this game, due to him being sick, they were going to be without Trevor Lawrence. Clemson was actually going to start DJ Uiagalelei, who was a true freshman. Now Notre Dame would actually end up winning this game 47-40 in double overtime, but then they had to play in the ACC championship game against Clemson once again. Although this was a different Clemson team because Trevor Lawrence was playing this game. And Trevor Lawrence clearly made a big difference because Notre Dame once again looked like frauds as they lost 34-10. Oh yeah, also they had to play an ACC championship game this year because this was the pandemic season, by the way. Despite them losing big to Clemson in the ACC championship game, they still made it to the college football playoffs where they had a day with Alabama in the Rose Bowl. The final score was 31-14 in Alabama's favor, and I promise you Alabama probably could have made it worse. They probably could have scored around 50-60 points. Kelly spent one more year with Notre Dame, where then he left them for LSU. This led to them hiring then Notre Dame defense coordinator Marcus Freeman. Freeman up to that point had no head coaching experience, but he was a well-respected DC. I would say Freeman's first season as Notre Dame head coach was successful. Freeman went 9-4 and they had ranked wins over number 16 BYU, number 16 Syracuse, and number 4 Clemson. Now I will say they did have a hiccup in week 2 against Marshall where they lost, but that's just kind of Notre Dame football. They're bound to lose a game like that every year. Now of course they made it to a bowl game where they played a ranked team in South Carolina, where they beat them in the Gator Bowl, making it Marcus Freeman's first bowl win. Now going into his second season, Marcus Freeman knew he needed a quarterback, so he went out and got transfer portal quarterback Sam Hartman. And whatever Sam Hartman showed when he was at Wake Forest really did not show when he was at Notre Dame. Hartman put up similar stats to what was his junior season at Wake Forest, as he had 2,600 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. And while Sam Hartman was out there struggling, Notre Dame's defense was out here looking good, led by guys like Xavier Watts, Benjamin Morrison, and Javonte Jean-Baptiste. In this season, Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame will have key wins over USC and Duke, and they would have a bowl win in the Sun Bowl against Oregon State. And going into the season that we're in now, Freeman knew he had to go out and find another quarterback, so he went out and found Duke transfer Riley Leonard. And the season started out in the Notre Dame way as they beat Texas A&M, and then on the second game of the season, they lost to Northern Illinois. But unlike the past coach, Marcus Freeman kept his team under control, and they went out and won the rest of the season, including ranked wins over Louisville, Navy, and Army. They had a date in the college football playoffs with Indiana, where they won at home, and then after the Indiana game, they had a date with Georgia, where they beat them as well. And actually, they just beat Penn State, so they punched a ticket to the national title game for the first time since 2012. Now, they'll play either Texas or Ohio State, but no matter what, Notre Dame will have a good chance of winning that game. And I get Marcus Freeman took over a good Notre Dame program, but I feel like maybe he hasn't taken it to really new heights, but he has set a new standard. I feel like going forward, we are not going to expect Notre Dame to win some of those key games, maybe against like Ohio State, a Texas, a Alabama, so on and so on. I'm also not going to expect them to drop 3 games after having that little Notre Dame hiccup game early in the season as well. Marcus Freeman is at Notre Dame to stay, and I believe he's really going to be a great coach in the future, as he's already a great coach right now. Let me know what y'all think. Let me know if y'all disagree. Let me know if y'all agree. Drop down in the comment section. And until next time, I'm out. Peace.